So this afternoon,
hold on 1 second. Okay. All right, Chief.
task force of detectives assigned to the FBI were conducting a federal search warrant on a narcotics investigation involving fentanyl. They were joined by St. Louis County task force officers that were assigned to the Safe Streets Task Force. During the investigation and the execution of the search warrant, they encountered individuals in the back 4100 block. One of the individuals flourished a firearm at the detectives. It's too early to tell right now if that individual shot or not. We're investigating that. The officers fired back in defense of their life. That individual has been transported to a local hospital. I can't comment on his condition at this point. Again, it was a federal search warrant for fentanyl. It's part of the Safe Streets Task Force. And what was happening today is that the St. Louis Police Department will be conducting the investigation at the scene, and the Department of Justice through the FBI will also be conducting a subsequent investigation involving the criminality that led to the search warrant.
Can you tell us what was found here at the scene?
I can't yet. Again, St. Louis Force Investigation Unit is conducting this investigation at this point. They will have a lot more to say later. I think at this point in time, it's premature to speculate on what evidence we may or may not find here. We did locate a firearm adjacent to the suspect who was shot by law enforcement. That is going to be recovered. Another firearm from another individual was also recovered. But that's all I can really say right now as far as the evidence that we've been able to recover.
Chief, how many men did they encounter other than the one who was shot? How big was it?
I only know of 2. There could have been more, but I'm not aware of any more at this point. But again, you need to understand that in our position, we're staying a little bit back and letting the detectives do their job.
2 people there were more officers than you're talking about the suspect.
Right.
Okay.
We're talking about this.
Was this inside the house or in the backyard?
It was outside in the backyard.
That's where the confrontation happened too?
That's where that happened.
So they never made entry into the house?
They did not.
Everything took place here. There was no chase, no pursuit. Everything was there.
Please keep in mind that we're executing also a federal search warrant for this house at this point, which brings us into that house at this point. But everything happened back out on the back patio.
The wounded suspect left here alive?
He did. So my understanding is he's been transported to a local hospital where he's undergoing treatment.
Any officers hurt?
No officers hurt at this point. Those officers obviously are going to be part of the investigation. They're certainly cooperating at this point. And the City Force Investigation Unit will continue that, again, with an overlap from the FBI, since this is an FBI Safe Streets Task Force.
You saw someone put into a car. Is that one of the suspects that they encountered?
I'm sure that's another person of interest, and I can't speak 100% to that right now, on who that individual is or what their involvement might be.
And do you know how many officers were here as part of that initial search warrant?
So there were officers here from the Federal Bureau of Investigation and officers from the St. Louis County Safe Streets Task Force, again, which is the federal task force.
Do you know what number on how
I don't
many?
have the number of actual officers here right now.
What's the work of the task force? What do they do?
So really what they do is they're trying to get to a point to where they can mitigate violent gang activity, a nexus to narcotics. Again, it's a federal Safe Streets Task Force, and I think it speaks for itself. It's a nationwide task force, by the way. So these officers are out here trying to curb right now what we're seeing as an alarming heroin epidemic that has been joined, unfortunately, by fentanyl. So I think the work that they're doing out here oftentimes goes unnoticed because we don't see remarkable events such as this. But unfortunately, from time to time, we encounter this. And please keep in mind, regardless of the decisions that individuals make, that there's friends and families that worry about them. And I certainly, I'm thinking about these officers involved in it and the individuals that were involved on the other side of this regarding the criminal activity.
Can you give us an idea of the experience of the officers that are on the task force?
Sean McGuire is going to give you that. These are not brand new officers, obviously. They're detectives assigned to the task force, so they've been with the department several years.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time.
Thanks.
Thank you.